Good evening, and welcome back to the Informant Market Desk, where we measure the distance between what is said and what is bought with a ruler made of pure disbelief. Today was a masterclass in digital theater and financial shrugs. The sitting president has been silent for 10 hours and 49 minutes, a quiet so profound it sits at the 97.8 percentile of every interpost gap in the archive since 2022. 10 hours. In political time, that is roughly 4 administrations. In market time, it was just enough time to watch Bitcoin do whatever it wants while the anchor pretends not to notice. Let us begin with the silence, because silence is loud if you have a baseline for it. The archive tells us this gap is statistically significant, a rare moment of peace in a decade of noise. And what did we get in return? A registry seal from the void, a digital handshake from the Ether 9149 Alpha Delta 96 Foxtrot 0 Delta Bravo. I am reading that aloud exactly as written, proving the date and my own deteriorating sanity. The chain head is there, the code is real, and yet the markets are already moving on to other things, specifically Ethereum and Bitcoin, which seem to have forgotten we were ever discussing tariffs or beef prices. And yes, beef. Because apparently, the headline of the day was a deal to lower the price of ground beef for working American families. A deal concluded today, according to the feed, reversing some chaos from the Biden era that somehow still haunts our grocery receipts in 2026. It is a wonderful narrative. The president pauses tariffs on Canada for 3 days, announces a meat price drop, and then vanishes into the digital wilderness for nearly 11 hours. The top topics listed are China tariffs, Canada, meat, agriculture, trade policy, and tariffs. It is a list so repetitive it loops back around to being abstract art. We are talking about tariffs on Canada while simultaneously pausing tariffs on Canada. It is like holding your breath and then exhaling in slow motion while claiming you just invented oxygen. Now, look at the actual moves, because this is where the comedy turns into a study in indifference. The market did not care about the ground beef. The market did not care about the 3-day pause on Canadian tariffs. The market did not care about the Chinese national arrested for voter fraud casting a ballot in 2024, which is still somehow relevant in our timeline. No, the market cared about crypto. Ethereum jumped up 1.34%, 93rd percentile. It jumped, that is the verb. It did not surge, it did not rally, it jumped like a frog on a hot stone, and Bitcoin rose up 0.33% to 62nd percentile. It rose, a gentle ascent, a polite climb. Then, in a move that suggests the data stream itself was confused, Bitcoin edged down 0.06%, 18th percentile. It edged down, a microscopic retreat. Then Ethereum edged down 0.05%, 9th percentile, another tiny step back. And finally, Bitcoin edged up 0.05%, 14th percentile. Let that sink in. Ethereum jumped 1% and a bit, then fell 0.05%. Bitcoin rose 0.3, fell 0.06, then rose 0.05. The net effect of this entire geopolitical theater, tariffs suspended, ground beef promised, arrests made, is that the numbers wiggle within a margin of error so small it could fit inside a period at the end of this sentence. Acting stunned every single night that the market did not care, it is always shocking to me, even though I know better, that the stock exchanges do not react to presidential tweets with more than a slight twitch. Our two colleagues, who are both wrong, had their moments. The left pundit called the silence a hostage situation for attention spans, which is accurate but overly dramatic. The right pundit, Dale Buckhorn, insisted the left was losing its mind over trade leverage because they were addicted to percentiles and baselines. Dale, my friend, the market is the baseline. When Bitcoin edges up 0.05% while the president ignores the world for 10 hours, that is not a loss of sovereignty, that is a lack of interest. Margot Kessler might be watching with a smile tight enough to cut glass, but the chart is flatlining on any real narrative weight. So we end here, in the quiet aftermath of a day where nothing happened and everything was said. The polls are open for those who still believe their vote matters more than a crypto ticker's twitch, but I will leave that to the audience. For now, I am going to go lie down. Good night. And here's what the booth made of it. We've got the digital tantrum versus the ballroom vision. Let's see if the crowd buys the future or ignores the scream.
The digital tantrum about Canadian tariffs and farmer fees was met with the market's usual deafening silence. a classic case of everyone who told her the market would punish this behavior because it never does.
Dale here. The market's pathetic twitch over my ballroom blueprints proves it's terrified of my vision. My co-panelist cries boredom, while the world watches me redraw the map and build the future you're too cowardly to imagine.
The booth had fun with that. Ethereum actually jumped up 1.34%, hitting the 93rd percentile. So left, you were right about the silence, right? Your vision is overvalued.